Sounds loud enough. He should have.
You should.
Every time I hit record, it puts it on hold. See that? I've been fiddling with this today and I can't get it to work. Okay. Oh God. Every time, it doesn't matter what I do to it.
Okay.
Let's go back, let's go back,
can.
let's go back. Okay, let's try it again. Alright, we're recording. There we go, sorry.
All right, no problem. Okay. The minutes of the previous meeting have been mailed. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Okay. If there are no corrections to the minutes, they are approved as mailed. Okay. The first thing on the agenda is victim impact panel review. Everything going smoothly. It's still at the Roadbridge Library. Right now we have $13,000 in the account. And $700 is allocated for the car seats. So that's a little bumper in there. So, any questions about the victim impact panel? Or is it same?
How many at the last meeting?
That last meeting was roughly 32. Roadbridge PD sent I think 21 of those by themselves. Yeah, Roadbridge PD has been sending a lot of DUIs.
Is the library working okay?
Say it again?
Is the library working okay?
Yes, everything gone smooth. Yep. So, yeah.
That's good.
Okay, we are gonna move on to the next thing on the agenda. That is ODOT. Road review. Got the floor, ODOT.
Just give some updates on projects.
Yes.
So currently the I-5-125 exit northbound, still that project's going on. You guys have probably seen that. Adding a right turn lane and putting new signal crosswalks, ADA ramps. So that's happening. I didn't know, were you gonna touch base on Melrose and Oakland?
Either way.
Okay, I'll let you handle their counties. And then, Reedsport, the lane reconfiguration, changing that this summer. Making, 2 northbound lanes in Reedsport, because after the road diet went in to make it safer for pedestrians and bicyclists, on those busy weekends. 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, you know. So anyway, fixing that this summer. And you'll see some activity there. And then also adding a crosswalk with a rapid flashing beacon on Abbott Street, I believe. So that's between Safeway and where 38 meets 101. There's kind of a mid-block crosswalk going in there. And the Hancock Mountain and Drain. So from Hancock Mountain into Drain, that's getting repaved next year. We're going through the starting stuff now. So you'll see some activity out there. And then also the Highway 42 Looking Glass Creek to I-5. That project is currently getting in design phase, adding a signal at Rolling Hills and putting in some lighting, making things a little safer there. That'll probably be 2025 before construction starts. And there's going to be some bridge work done on the Winchester Bridge, northbound and southbound, coming this summer. So that'll be night work. Hopefully, won't be too big of an impact on traffic. And then we're in a design phase only. We got funding for design phase at the Brockway intersection on 42 to potentially put a roundabout there.
Okay.
Had a lot of fatalities and serious injuries, so working on that. And some smaller projects. The 127 northbound on-ramp, that's going to get repaved here starting next week, I believe. That'll be night work. It's pretty rough, that cloverleaf ground there. And that's kind of the majority of it. Oh, we're gonna have a crack sealing project on I-5 between 136 and 140. Didn't have enough funding to do a full pave, but we're gonna get those cracks all filled in. And then in drain itself, we got some deep base repair going in near the intersection. And then that intersection there, eastbound, when you first come into drain, that's gonna be a 4-way stop. So a lot of input from the community and recommendations back and forth, so they're gonna try that. So there'll be, the intersection will have some new striping and signs. That's kind of the majority of what I got.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for him?
I just went down to Glendale today and there's, I don't know if it's from a past project that I did pay attention to. There's posts and boards like to put signs on along south between like Barton Road and Glendale exited. Is there something coming up there? They're all on the southbound side that I noticed.
Not that I'm aware of.
Is that from a past?
Must
And
be.
then-
Remember where that rest area used to be? Where the rest area used to be?
Down through that area, yeah. They don't look that old, that's why
I haven't paid attention.
we just noticed them today.
Haven't been out there for a bit.
I couldn't remember if that's from the last paving job and they just were left up. Or if it's, is that chain up area sign.
I'm not sure, but I'll find out.
Isn't that fairly wide through there? Could that be a chain up area?
It could be,
It
could be.
is a
Because it's
chain
just
up area.
before the hill.
Right about milepost 83,
Yeah.
84.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just before the hill, it makes sense.
That's probably what it is and I just had forgot.
Yeah, it could be.
One last thing you guys probably noticed in Sutherland, Winston, and Roseburg, there's a lot of the new cameras up that are license plate cameras. I'm getting a lot of people calling about those. I contacted the manufacturer today. It's from Flock, this company that's it's a statewide deal, and it's also anyway. Long story short, there's about 14 of them locally that are on ODOT right away, and there's no permit to be on right away, so they need to go through a permit process, and then the post has to be crash tested per ODOT standard. And then lastly, some of them are right behind ODOT signs that are crash tested, and they need to be 7 feet away. So I don't necessarily think they're the sheriff's department, but Roseburg Police, Winston, and Sutherland, I'll be reaching out to those folks.
Oh, we have them in the county.
Yeah, those are fine if they're on a county
They're
road,
not, they're
but
not state roads.
yeah, the ones that are on our right of way, we're gonna have to do some problem solving there. But we're not against it, we just need to go through the.
Proper channels,
Yep.
different specs you gotta go through, qualifications, okay?
Yeah, I think the guy said today, he's in charge of 9 states and things are going pretty fast. I think his salesman kind of got ahead of the process, so.
Okay.
They kind of got put in before they went through us.
Okay. That's one of the things, the cart before the horse.
Yep, yep,
But he made the sale though.
yeah, they did. I think there's a good purpose for them, but,
You said those are in Sutherland? Is that where
Yeah,
most?
they have,
Yeah.
so they have them all over the place.
they're on Diamond Lake Boulevard and they're out by the high school and Kelly's Corner and in Sutherland, and yeah, they're just popping up all over. They got little solar panels
Okay.
and a camera that just captures the license plate.
Oh, is that like the ones on the hill going down before the Melrose intersection from town, between Troost and Melrose intersection? There's 2 there that have the solar panels
It
on them.
could be, yeah, that's county road, so.
Right. There's 2.
Yeah, I don't remember those specifically, flock cameras there.
There's a couple
It could
by
be.
UCC.
Right up there by UC, there's one, I know that one. Yeah, there's,
Okay. Any other questions for ODOT? Okay, if there's no further questions, we're gonna go to the next one. We have county road review, Robert.
Okay, guys, well, number 1, we're in construction in Winchester Bay, and we're about 70% complete with the sewer and water improvement contract. That's going very well, and I think they may end up finishing a little early. We've been getting some help from the sheriff's department on various small items, but other than that, it's going pretty good. The influx of I want to say summer traffic is beginning to show, so we're keeping an eye on that. Again, with the help of the sheriff and the contractor, everybody's trying to make that as easy as possible. Number two, we began the construction project for the Hinkle Bridge. That's in East Sutherland, and we're in the submittal process. And currently, they have begun precasting operations in Harrisburg. That's Knife River's casting bed yard, and that process has begun. That's the precast girder process. Number three, safe route to school in Canyonville. We're at the last relocation of Pacific Power poles, and the plans are on their way to the design plans are on their way to 100%, and that job should be out to bid late this year into early next year for construction. That's safe route to school. Number four, we have a county and ODOT project at the intersection of Melrose and Garden Valley. We have selected the designer, that's HHPR, and right now that's just in the preliminary kind of setup stage. Number five, another safe route to school in Glendale, Azalea. We have had our first open house meeting this last month, and that went fairly well. And we're at the 30% conceptual design, and we're now in the first stage of the environmental report. So that's also going well. Number six, we have the S4S action plan. It's a safety review kind of program that identifies safe areas for vehicles and pedestrians, and that's currently in the scoping process with a consultant designer, EKS.
What is that? Safe? I guess when you said,
It's called S4S grant. I don't know what the acronym stands for. It's S4S. They identify areas throughout the county based on the number of crashes, fatalities, injuries, and they identify patterns, and they try to come up with resolutions to common problems in the areas. That's in the scoping stage right now.
thank you.
Number seven, we have the bid package for Day Creek, Deer Creek, and South Myrtle. And that's still also in the preliminary stages. Nothing has really kind of moved on that. And number eight, lastly, the Melrose and Oakland bridges. The Oakland Bridge, opened several months ago, and is now they're in the process of getting ready to do the removal of the old bridge. And in Melrose, they're finishing up the barrier rail, the safety rail on the new bridge, and they're working on the approaches. And that, after ODOT and county review, we should be looking at opening up the new bridge sometime in the next couple of months, and then start the demo of the old bridge. That's all I have.
Okay. Anybody have any further questions?
I didn't hear what you said about the Melrose and Garden Valley project. What is that?
That's
roundabout.
a design of the intersection of Melrose and Garden Valley.
Okay, redesign of that intersection.
Yeah.
Are you still gonna do the roundabout?
Well, that's the way the grant's written, so yes,
Yeah.
that's the,
Cause there was another accident this weekend out there.
yeah, that is the grant, is a roundabout.
Yeah, I'm anxious for that to get going. And I had requested, or I had mentioned something about the traffic, bus stop. At, but a warning sign or, just posting. But the person that was riding the bus to and from at the top of Apple Blossom is now going to, I still call it junior high, but anyway, but there's still one kid that lives on Rio Vista. So the person on my block will not be riding the bus anymore. So, but there's still a young child that lives on Rio Vista that catches the bus there too, so. The sign is still needed.
sign is still needed.
And I don't know if there used to be some young kids at the beginning of Country Hill Lane that would ride the bus. And I don't know if they're still there or not. But we do have one child at Rio Vista, which is just before, in my area.
Maybe right after this meeting, if you can tell me exactly where it's at, I'm not as familiar with all the different areas.
yeah, yes,
You can pinpoint it
yes,
and get back to me.
Yeah. thank you.
Okay, I have one thing. Do we have a speed sign on the Glide side of North Bank? To tell you how fast you're supposed to go on North Bank? Are you aware of that? Been brought to my attention, but me personally, I have not checked to verify it. I'm just bringing it up
Okay.
to see.
North side of where?
North Bank Road, basically in Glide, go by the Green Bridge, and you go over, you start to turn. Like when you enter North Bank Road, is there a
Coming
speed,
from Glide,
coming from Glide?
going west,
Yes, going to
That's
south.
as fast as you can go to get air.
That road, that bridge has been,
Oh, whoop.
So I'm not sure if there's a speed sign
I can't
for
remember.
that road or not.
no,
It's like Garden, or
I can tell you there are no
Cleveland
speed signs
Rapids.
on North Bank, I live out there,
Okay, well then,
there are 0 speed signs.
okay. Yeah, somebody asked me, how fast is the speed limit on North Bank Road? I said, me personally, I don't know that answer.
55 is what it is, it's an unmarked county road. And I've been told by the county sheriff that 55 is
Yes, that's,
the speed. However, safe speed on North Bank Road is about 40 to 45.
I was gonna say about 45 to be,
35 would be fabulous. I would love to see that speed out there because one, it would stop all the animals being killed. There'd be less accidents and there'd be less idiots going off the road.
wouldn't be a 35. They would,
I
they
know.
might adjust it to a 45 or something. It's like,
yeah, I mean,
But
you're,
as it's not
55.
marked, it's a 55 and people
okay,
push it
Yeah.
65, 70. They've gone
Okay.
past my house.
maybe
at
you could
night.
look at, put a little sign up, just post it. Okay, yeah, I mean, you can't fix stupid. I mean, some people are just never gonna, even though the sign, they're not gonna follow directions.
I thought you were talking past my shop and I think it's 85 right there.
yeah.
I think so.
Del Rio's
That's
now.
what it is in front of my house.
Yeah,
Del Rio's now 70. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Talk to some of the car clubs out there, it's faster than that if you're driving a Ferrari.
Yeah, Porsche Club went through down today, I guess.
They look really funny with gears sticking out in front.
Yeah, they almost straightened out the Melrose Bridge, I hear too. So, anyway,
okay,
what do
we're
I know?
gonna go on to the next agenda, and it's gonna be the sheriff department, Andrew.
so far this year, we've had 14,170 calls for service. Been 2,350 traffic stops, 660 of them were cited, 61 DUIs, and injury traffic crashes were 64.
How many citations?
664. It's typical, around 20 to 25% of them.
Yeah.
Usually warn on about 75% of our stops. It's been the ongoing average forever.
Anybody have any further questions for the sheriff department?
14,000 calls in 5 months.
Wow.
The average person has no idea how much.
No, they don't. Nor the traffic
amazing.
stops.
All I
A
know
little
is-
surprised on the traffic crash, I thought it'd be higher than that, but the way that's coded sometimes, if you go to a traffic crash and the driver has like a warrant or something, the way that report is typically gonna be coded as a warrant arrest
Oh,
report.
instead
And
of.
so those numbers can be kinda skewed, you really have to dissect it,
Okay,
to pull those out. But, cause there's not very many, like, collateral crimes that would be coded as a traffic, okay, cause that's criminal and one's
okay,
not necessarily criminal, but, if there's a crime involved in that traffic crash, which there often is, or like suspected misdemeanor.
Mhm.
That's the criminal, the report would be coded as misdemeanor suspended
Okay.
drive and not as, so that wouldn't result in that. So that's a stat that's always a little bit low.
What about like traffic stops? Is it the same thing? If it's,
Traffic stops is, yeah, if the traffic stop turns in, it is actually like, which obviously we see somebody we're looking for, we're gonna do a traffic stop on them and then take care of either the case that we have with them or, you know, the warrant, you know, this driver,
Investigate
and
a
it's gonna be
warrant.
coded as that, so yeah, that's another one that can be. But that one's not, I mean, it's such a big number, it's so the percentage of it goes down, right? It's the percentage of 660 compared to the percentage of 60 is, you know,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's another one.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay, if there are no further questions, we are gonna move on to the next one. And we have requests for bicycle helmets, Winston Teen Center. Roxana, you have the floor.
Thank you. First off, I thank you for inviting me to come have a letter for you all. Winston Teen Center has been in existence since 2007. They are sponsored by the group that I am the director for called Winston Area Community Partnership. We are a nonprofit organization. The teens, we provide an after-school program for them and an out-of-school program during the summer for them. The teen center used to be just a place for them to come and hang out, and they had some culinary stuff they called using a tabletop oven to cook, and then they have we have several programs that are geared toward keeping the teens out of trouble. One of those is bicycle safety, scooter safety, skateboard safety. And the bottom line on all of that for them is getting them to wear their helmets. I have talked to all of the teens that come to the teen center that don't wear helmets, and I have asked them why. My folks can't afford it. Well, Winston has a very low income population. They have the highest percentage of single moms, single dads, alcoholics, narcotics, drugs, homeless, one excuse after another. Bottom line is, we couldn't stand by any longer and do anything. I've been there for 2 years. In the last year, we have had 4 incidents that were very, very extreme. One young man lost his leg because he didn't stop at a stop sign. He was not wearing a helmet. He did not obey the speed limit. His parents go, well, we didn't know. The second incident was a young lady who was skateboarding, not wearing a helmet, skateboarding where she wasn't supposed to, signs all over the place, didn't obey those, no helmet. She went into the back of a parked car, broke both bones, femur, fibula and tibia on her right leg, and asked her why she wasn't wearing a helmet. She also got a minor concussion because she hit it and bounced and whacked the back of her head on the pavement. Didn't have one. Dad shows up after I'd called 911, and why isn't your daughter wearing a helmet? Well, we can't afford it. So, third incident, young lady on a scooter clotheslines herself on a chain, safety chain in the fire lane, hits the curb, hits her head, hits her shoulder, knocks herself out, laying there, comes to, and again, no helmet, folks can't afford it. We have a new employee who, Trish, contacted you, and we made arrangements to be here. We had tried the fire department, we tried the police department, everybody pointed us to you. So with that, we put together our little presentation here. At no time were any of these teens, we have for insurance reasons, have the teens sign in to the teen center. And we have them under our insurance and our responsibility. The young man, that was the 4th incident that I made up my mind I had to do something, was a young man that was wearing a helmet, but it wasn't buckled, and it wasn't his. and he ran into the side of a car and did $9,000 worth of damage to a brand new car. When I met with the parents of each of these children and asked them if they knew the law about what their children are supposed to do, wear their helmets, do their children know the laws? Do they know the laws? And do they know that they can be, as parents, cited for their children not wearing a helmet? The ticket price is $25. And that they are also responsible for up to $7,500 worth of damage done to property or a vehicle. That got everybody's attention. Parents go, well, what are we gonna do about it? What can we do about it? So I went and spoke with Canyon Creek Bikes, the Velo Club, the Mountain Bike Group, the Safe Routes to School through the Douglas ESD, and a group called Thundering Waters, and our local community program for the 4th of July called Winston Area Independence Day. I do have a second copy if that would help, if y'all would like to read what we're passing around. So we came up with this great idea that we are going to have a presence at the July 6th Winston Area Independence Day celebration. We don't call it 4th of July because we celebrate on Saturday, either on the 4th, before or after. So we are going to have a bicycle rodeo, a bicycle safety check, an ABC, air brakes, chain, teach the kids with bicycles the ABCs of their bicycle. We're going to teach them how to properly wear a helmet. And for those teens or youth that are old enough to come to the teen center, we would hope that with the assistance of ODOT that we can, our safety committee, provide helmets to at least the teens that are in the teen center. Right now, our current enrollment is over 200 students. Of those 200 students, over 105 of them attend the teen center on bicycles or skateboards or scooters. The one young lady who clotheslined herself, her dad took a scooter away from her and told her she wasn't allowed to ride it anymore. So that is my presentation. I am asking for $3,000 so that we could purchase a minimum of 100 helmets. And those aren't top quality, those are $25, $30 helmets.
I noticed that it says teens 11 to 18.
Mhm.
Typically, are you focusing on the younger
Younger
end?
ones.
Because once you
Once they reach the
get
age
up to like
16.
15, 16, there's this odd thing called a job.
Well, and though, even though they are 15 or 16 and they get a job, until they are over the age of 16, they're still supposed to wear a helmet.
They are, but I mean, as far
And
as
we
taking
would-
their time.
I would like to include them because they're the ones that seem to be listening the most. The ones I'm having the biggest issue is are the 12 and 13-year-olds. And they're still a little bit sassy until they run into me for the second time. And then that's the end of that. So they are our future. They are, every one of them, important. And if I can help save one of them from a TBI, traumatic brain injury, for those who don't know what that is, by coming to you and asking for your assistance, that's what I'm doing.
How many other community partners do you have to try to raise this?
We have the local churches are behind us, they're helping. We have the bicycle groups and that I talked to you that are going to be assisting us during that one event. We have the Independence Day group. We have the Festival Association, that is another organization that's there. We have the fire department that we've talked to. I am also writing grants to see if we can find funds other places. But what we ultimately are looking for is in excess of $7,000. So we're asking you guys for $3,000. And I should know hopefully before July 6th whether we have our funds from the other sources. So the kids are willing to do fundraisers. They've all said that they would do pop can collections. They're actually on board with helping earn the money for their helmets.
Where are you purchasing the helmets from?
We have an online source that I didn't I apologize, did not write that down, but I did find a bicycle group, the BMX Club, Douglas County, the Umpqua BMX group. Deborah from that group is going to be helping us as well, and she has a connection for helmets that they utilize for the BMX kids that are not the ones that look like the motocross helmets, but they are good quality helmets for a decent price. So probably mostly online. It's not gonna be a Walmart thing.
But you're getting a good price for them.
Pardon me?
You're getting a good price for them.
Yes.
For the quality that they are.
Yes, that's what we're looking for, is
Chris, are helmets like car seats where it doesn't necessarily matter the brand, they have to meet a certain, what you had said on car seats where
The specs.
the more money you spend, it's just more
More
fancy,
whistles
but
and
they,
bells.
with the helmets, the biggest thing is the quality of the shell, the quality of the cushioning, and the fit.
Right, but do they all meet, do you know that
They
they meet federal
have-
safety standards, all of them, no matter what kind you buy?
Yeah, they have to meet
Yeah.
a certain standard.
Right, cause car seats, he was talking about that, all car seats, whether they're really cheap ones or more expensive ones, all have to meet
Certain standards.
federal safety standards, so, and it's more the whistles and bells on them that raise the price. And I'm assuming that bicycle helmets
Bicycle
are the
helmets are
same,
the same way.
they're the
yeah.
same way, and they're also, I know bicycle helmets fall under the same category as car seats in that if they are in a wreck, if they do crash, if they hit their head, you need a new helmet.
Yep.
Because there could be a hairline fracture in them that you can't see or know, and so they have to be replaced.
So it's been compromised.
Yeah.
on car seats, we've learned a ton of stuff from Chris on car seats that most of us didn't know. Are helmets the same way? Do you have to have somebody that is certified to fit
Them?
fit those
I don't know,
helmets?
I'm not in,
It's
I don't do
cars-
helmets.
That
car
might be,
seats.
I don't
Make
think
sure it
they
doesn't wiggle.
do.
Yeah,
It's-
cause I mean,
it's
car
like
seats, I never
motorcycle,
knew, you
yeah.
just stuck them in the car seat and strapped them in.
Oh, no.
But, you know, you have to be certified to teach that to somebody. So you have people that are pretty experienced as far as to,
I have, like I said, I have the Velo Club, the Mountain Bike Club, I have the BMX
and they fall off a
group.
lot, they should know, I would
And
think.
they all, I personally know 11 of the members of the Velo Club. They helped us when we started the Sharrows and the incidents here in downtown, when we started doing the repaving of the streets. These are the same people that I worked with when I was downtown Roseburg, so they know their stuff
Yeah, they're,
and I would trust them
see,
quite.
they should crash enough, they should know how to make one fit.
Yeah, so, you know, I don't know if y'all know Dick Delganis or Bert Tate, they're both big bicycle enthusiasts, and Bert and Dick were both very, very hands-on and involved in helping get the Sharrows here in downtown put in, so,
Do you see bicycles making kind of a resurgence?
yes, we do.
I know when I was a kid, everybody had a bike.
Yep.
And then there's been a long time
No one.
when my kids were there,
Weird,
But
they kinda nobody had them anymore.
like
and-
early 2000s and that
Yeah.
kinda went away.
Yeah, they went to skateboards and
And
stuff, and
now they're coming.
now they're
back.
coming back because this is one of many projects that Wake Up is working on, Winston Area Community Partnership, short-term wake up, so that people wake up.
And a thing, an off the course thing, but a safety thing for
Mhm.
bicycles that really probably should throw in, as I'm noticing, I'm sure you are too, that they're having to share the bike lanes / sidewalks with the homeless and the shopping carts and all of that more now. So you're seeing more instances of the bicycle going out into the lane of travel. And
We're
know,
hoping that our
young
safe-
riders
yeah.
don't stop to look behind to see if
young
somebody's
riders
there.
don't stop, period. That's the problem. I'm hoping that we can get our safety course during this one program and have it an ongoing monthly event to teach them, one, the rules of the road as a bicyclist, what they have to do and what their responsibilities are. And two, to make sure that they know how important the ABCs of their bicycles and their helmet is part of that. So I call it ABCH. You've got your air, your brakes, your chain on your bike that are all very important, but you also have your handlebars and your helmet that you need to make sure are where they belong. Your seat height is adjusted correctly, your handlebars are not too far forward or too far back. remember when the stingrays and the,
Oh,
yeah.
you know, the
Yeah,
cool
we-
things and the banana seats and all of that, and the big sissy bars and the wheelie walks, and
Hey, banana seats
none
were,
of us ever
banana
had
seats were
helmets.
cool in the sixties.
But cars, people were more respectful during that time. Cars,
They were,
bicycles.
But like I say, now you've got this other aspect that we didn't have.
Yeah.
You've got the homeless,
Population's a lot
you've got
bigger.
the population is more, you've got the shopping carts and some of these people have a shopping cart
Or two,
or two
And a dog.
And a dog, and so you've got this and especially young riders,
my favorite is
you
the
know, they
old
might know the
gentleman.
rules of the road, but they need to be more,
They need to be
looking
more
around.
alert of their surroundings, and some of the events that we're hoping to get them to do with the exhibitions at the bicycle rodeo is an awareness course. So we're gonna
that's
have,
excellent.
uh,
That's an excellent idea.
so that if you're coming around here, I'm gonna have somebody standing right here and they're gonna step out.
Exactly.
So that they can, you know, make them pay attention. Just something to make them more aware. And then everybody gets a chance to compete, everybody gets a chance to be in there. We're hoping that we can get people to participate also by rewarding them after the parade. We want them to be in the parade. We want them to be part of the community, we want them to be part of the fun event, and then we want them to come to the rodeo, and we want them to get helmets, and we want them to learn, but not know they're learning.
Learn and have fun at the same
Right,
time.
and
So, hey, we teach them geometry every single day and they don't know it. But when they go to school the next day and they've got a geometry test and then all of a sudden they're getting A's and B's and C's where they were getting C's, D's and F's. So we're doing something right. We have a program called Caught Doing Good, where kids do something extra. They'll help one of my employees with cleanup, or they'll pick up a mess after somebody else. And we give them a little coupon called Caught Doing Good. They put it in a drawing box, and at the end of the month, they get to draw for this great big $35 stuffed animal that we've had donated. And the kids will work extra hard to try and get that stuffed animal. And then if they get 5 Caught Doing Good tickets, they get to take them to Mr. Welker, the principal at the junior high, and they get a first in line pass in the lunch line, so they get to go first.
Oh, right.
So we're working in conjunction with the schools. And then for the high school kids, they're all about the food and the soda. So if they get 5 Caught Doing Goods, or they get the most Caught Doing Goods and you're in high school, then you get your soda a day for the whole month coming up.
Nice.
So these are things that are working. And so I think this bicycle program with the helmets and teaching them and having a once a month event will work. And if it saves the life of one kid, it's worth it.
And how long did you say the Winston Teen Center's been in operation?
The building was built in 2003. The teen center, the Winston Area Community Partnership was formed because of the death of 2 young people. One in 1997, one in 1998. 1997, the young man was horsing around with his friends and they were playing with a gun and it was loaded and he ended up dead. In 1998, a young man who had been diagnosed as depressed because he didn't have any friends, he didn't have anything to do, both his parents worked, killed himself with a gun again. So there was a group of people in Winston and the surrounding areas that came together and decided enough was enough, and Winston needed to wake up. So Winston Area Community Partnership was formed. The Teen Center came into existence in 2004.
Where is the teen center? I'm at a loss.
You know where the Winston Library is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the community center.
Mm-hmm.
Winston Area Community Partnership built that building. And inside that building is the senior center, the teen center, the Winston Library, a gathering room or an event center, and a commercial kitchen that does Meals on Wheels for all of Douglas County. So we are now, and have been, in the west side of the building that faces Grape Street.
I was gonna say, that's down by the park, right?
Yes, it's in the park.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
My wife went to Winston, I
Yeah.
went to Roseburg,
So
I was
Winston
from the big city.
has the community center, and the teen center actually faces Grape Street, and we have access in that yard. So if you ever drive out there, you'll see boys and girls out under the trees, and boys playing football or playing frisbee or volleyball, or if Mr. Jack is there, then they all go up to the upper field in the park and we'll play 500 pop-up with baseballs that were donated, baseball gear that was donated to us from the National Guard. So
What school is that's across the street just down? Is that grade school or middle school?
That's
or-
the middle school.
Okay.
That's the Winston Warriors Middle School. And we also have kids that come in from McGovern, and they will come over and if they're 11. So our ages are 11 to 18. We have one young lady who's super, super smart, and she's in 6th grade. She's only 10 years old, but she loves coming to the teen center. So our rules are 6th grade or 11 years old. So if you're 6th grade and you're 10, you gotta go.
Okay.
And we have once a month, little brother, younger sibling day. We allow 10-year-old kids to come in and they can see what big brother and big sister are doing and what they get to look forward to the next year, but they have to be 10. So it's a program that I could sit and talk to you for hours about because I absolutely love what I do. And I believe in it.
It shows. I have one question. Are you going to require education regarding bicycle safety?
Before they get a helmet?
Before you get a helmet?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. They have got to prove to me that they know what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to wear their helmet. They're supposed to know what is a yellow triangle, what is a red octagon, what is a white square with little black letters on it. Numbers, what does that mean? Speed zone, school zone, yield sign, stop sign. And I've worked with the city of Winston. We have, when the young man lost his leg, was right on the corner of Park and Grape, and they had it all outlined because of the accident scene. And we called them and asked them if they could please paint over it in black so that it blended a little better because the teens are pretty traumatized. But that worked as a double lesson because when they saw it, I used that as a teaching point that if he had simply stopped at the stop sign, stop,
Bad things happen to good people.
you know, that's it. But when you tell them, you know, stop does not mean slightly tap on pedal or spin tires on pavement. It means stop, forward motion ceases.
Just like if you're a police officer, don't come to a rolling stop, it's not the same,
Yeah.
you know? I guarantee you, they do the same blue in the face conversation, you know?
No, these kids are getting better about listening. I really can say because a lot of the grants that I write for have questions on how do you measure success? Well, in this, measuring success is going to mean teens will be, Winston police officers will be issuing less tickets to parents. They
And,
give them one warning, make them walk their bike home the second time, their parents get the $25 ticket.
and how active are they doing that?
How what?
How active are they doing that, Winston PD?
Oh, they're
they
very
pretty
active
active?
in it.
Very active.
We talk, Chief Sardi and I talk pretty much on a monthly basis. And if I bring it up to the resource officer and, you know, we try to work in tandem with everybody in the community because it's not just one person's job.
Exactly.
It's a community problem. It's a community solution.
And when you wear a badge, it's basically demand respect, you know, it's like, oh, officer's coming, what'd I do wrong? What, you know, where's my helmet, what?
The other day, last week on Wednesday, I had 8 teens, not 18, but 8 different teens standing down on the corner of Thompson and Grape, and they were yelling at cars that were going by. And none of them were signed into the teen center. However, in an effort to help, I walked down and told them, knock it off. And they all know who I am. And they did for about 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes later, they started in again. Well, we have 3 senior members that live right across the street, and they will call the police. And I said, if you guys don't quit, you're gonna end up with the police here, and you're all gonna be in trouble. And you can get cited for harassment. And they can't do that. And I said, oh, yes, they can. It wasn't 6 minutes that the city police were there and they were talking to them and they told them verbatim what I had just said. So when we know, you know, when I talk to the police and I ask them what they could do, worst case scenario, because I wanna scare them straight.
Yeah.
I don't care. I will scare them.
Well, they need to learn fear and respect again.
They do.
They don't
And
have
I
any-
don't have a problem being a catalyst for that. But they are learning and they are getting better. It was almost a daily issue before we started holding them accountable. And then we have a new year, a new influx of fifth graders that become sixth graders, and they think they're all that in a bag of chips, and they rules don't apply to them. And then they run into Miss Roxana and find out that Miss Roxana and Chief Sardi say different. So they are learning and they are growing and they are getting better, and it's in a positive way. So don't get me wrong, we still have our little troublemakers that seem to think that, you know, sneaking alcohol from mom and dad's supply and taking it to school is okay, or stealing Big Brother's pot and taking it to school is okay. Believe me, those kids, they get dealt with very, very harshly. They're not allowed to bring any contraband to the teen center. And if they're caught with it at the teen center, they get held in my office until the police arrive, and I make sure that they are escorted home by the police. It's not, I don't mess around with that, I don't, not okay. It's just not
Good job,
okay.
yes,
So I apologize for taking up so much of your time,
No,
but
that,
it's,
no, you did very good.
yes.
it's,
We need to know all the information before we gather and vote on this, so your information you gave was very helpful in making a decision. I'm gonna open up the floor for anybody have anything that they'd like to ask. Move
Get a
forward.
card, have Miss Mike, you can contact her, she can help you with some like seats or help us too.
okay, perfect. That would be great.
Oh, thank you.
I think we're ready to make a motion or.
Okay, we have basically a motion to
To-
request $3,000
The
to
Winston.
Winston Teen Center. Would somebody like to second the motion?
I will second the motion.
Motion seconded. Now we will bring it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion granted. $3,000 will go to the Winston Teen Center. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the lives of the children that you're helping
Yeah.
change. I thank you on their behalf as well.
And all your information on the
On
form
that
that you
letter and on
need
that
for
card, our mailing address.
mailing address, the contact.
Everything should be on that letter, yes.
Yes,
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Have a good night.
yes.
Thank you. I've got another meeting I gotta be at in 20 minutes.
Get the next thing on the agenda will be ODOT Traffic Safety Workshop report. Chris, you have the floor.
Thank you. On May 14th, I went to this workshop presented by ODOT, and it was very good. You should have all been there.
I know some
Those of
us
you who don't check
Some of
your
us don't
email.
check their email very often.
Okay. So basically what it was it gave a
I
lot of
found out about it the day it
statistics and you know, I won't go over all of those, but you know, there's statistics that came out. This was for the Southwest region, which is Douglas and Jackson County, Josephine County, Coos and Curry County. It's the Southwest region. And you know, they talked about a lot of fatalities, the numbers, how they're increasing, things like that. And mostly it was to give those facts first, and then we did some problem solving and brought up some issues. What they went over was the 4 E's, which is education, enforcement, emergency response, and engineering. These are all factors of safety on the roads. We did not go through engineering because that was not part of it. It was mostly education, the enforcement, and emergency response, and how these are handled, and you know, the different statistics about what the problem is. The biggest problem is lane departure crashes. People leaving the roadway for one reason or another. Alcohol, that's 53% in the region. This is just for the region. Alcohol and drug is 31%, speed was 29%, intersections were 25%, meaning people coming out of an intersection or a driveway or a roadway, and motorcyclists. The biggest increase besides lane departures was distracted driving and young drivers, and that seemed to come to the top as far as concerns. And the biggest thing that we talked about was distracted driving is, and young drivers, that driver education should be more than learning just how to drive. That they should be learning consequences. We had a woman speak, she was a guest speaker, and she just kind of brought all this home. And this just happened in 2023, in September of 2023, they had gone to an Oregon State football game, and they were coming home, and she was the grandmother, and her children and grandchildren were in this other car. And they were on the freeway and they got a call to come back. Someone had, of course, the traffic's backed up, it's bumper to bumper, and someone hit the back of her family's car at 55 miles an hour and actually put her car into the back seat of their car, severely injuring her grandson, who was in a coma for months and is still can't walk and talk. And the excuse of this young lady that hit them was she was looking at her makeup bag. She was digging in her makeup bag and not paying attention to the traffic in front of her. So that's a major distraction. And then so it kind of went into, it's not only fatalities that's a problem, it's the life-altering injuries. Those are not in these statistics. These statistics are all fatalities. But there's also another statistic that isn't in these statistics, and that's a life-altering injury. This young man is going to be forever changed because he had a major brain injury. He can't walk and talk. I mean, you know, and they figured that the medical bills are gonna be about $8 million in total that he's going to need in this care. No insurance is gonna cover that. No lawsuit is gonna cover that. You know, and so the basic thing is we need to go back to educating young drivers, not just teaching them to drive and telling them it's bad and against the law to text and drive, but they need to know these consequences. They need to know what happens with distracted driving. That seemed to go to the top. And so education, that was the main thing that we talked about as far as education went. And then enforcement was the same thing, like what you said, Drew, was, you know, compliance comes first. That's why they get so many warnings, is because we want compliance first, but if you don't learn your lesson with compliance and getting pulled over and told you can't do this, you can't do that, whatever, then it's time for citations. And emergency response, they went over that too, as far as emergency responders, you know, tow truck drivers that are on the side of the freeway, and we have this move over law that not everybody obeys, and we've had some fatalities there. You know, that is basically what it was all about. But this woman that spoke was extremely powerful, and it just kind of just brought home. And that's kind of where everything went, was consequences. And
They
you know, I
still-
kind of went along with what this woman was saying here
Do they
today.
still do that? It used to be when you took driver's ed, there was a movie years ago, it was called Blood on the Highway. You
I don't know
remember?
if they do that one, but I know that as
They
far
do
as
that
the
anymore?
education side of what you're talking about, that's what driver's ed's for. And they
Right.
spend, and I know you know that, but they spend the majority of that time in driver's ed going through, yeah, do this and this could happen, those types of things. But not everybody goes to driver's ed.
Right,
And
and
then
that
the
was the other thing we
refreshers and stuff.
talked about, was that maybe that at some point it should become law that in order to get a driver's license as a teenager, you have to take driver's ed
I
and
think
you
it
have
should be
to be
mandatory. I
educated.
mean, you have to go
No
through the
brainer.
motorcycle class to get an endorsement for a motorcycle.
Right, but
And that's all day.
Yeah.
again, it's
One day,
income,
it's actually,
you know, it's another income thing, you know, cause you have to pay for driver's ed. But if you required it,
Well, people have to determine what's more important, you know?
I mean, you have
It's
to
like
pay
the
to get
bicycle
driver's
helmet thing, is cigarettes and
wasn't
beer
too bad,
more
no.
important than the bicycle helmet?
driver's ed was, it was surprising to me how, like when my daughter had gone through it a few years back, was cheaper than I thought it was. I think it was like
Yeah.
a couple hundred, and I know it, I'm saying, oh, not that much, to some people that is a lot, right? But what is it to go down and get your driver's license anyway? Because with the,
That's ridiculous.
I mean, it's like,
It's almost,
I don't know, I'm kind of
It's like
just
$100
spitballing, but I think it's around $50 or something.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
50
don't-
or 80, and
But now you need the real ID, To
yeah,
fly,
that's what I had.
And
and I just
saved-
did that, and it's another $30 to add to that.
Insurance saved because of driver's ed,
Yeah,
more
if
than
you-
paid for driver's ed.
Yeah, that's
The only
true.
pain was the
You save on your insurance. when you
inconvenience
take
for my
driver's
kid,
ed.
which I don't care, you know,
Yeah.
not too bad.
Yeah.
And I wanna say and it was usually always a teacher it was teachers at the school that taught driver's ed, most of them.
They do it a little different
And
now.
Yeah.
they were people that all the kids knew and either respected or were scared to death of, which really doesn't matter at that point. I don't care if they're scared of them or not, I want them to be scared of them. And there was, like I say, it was, there was that movie and they hit on a lot more, you know, this is maybe
At least 10 years ago or so.
Yeah, well, yeah.
since that happened, and I don't know if they
I
do
don't know
that
if they
anymore.
have that one specifically, but I know they have movies there because my daughter was talking about some of them.
Yeah,
Because, you know, kids are
and the rec cars.
kids are kids at any generation, it's not gonna happen to me.
Yeah.
And they don't see what we see, and what your guy sees, and his guy sees. Because we're the ones that are out there, and I was 16 once. You know,
I just, we had a member of
Yeah.
our class that
you know,
wrapped his car around one of the trees in Stewart Park. And that's still
He's still a vegetable to this day.
reminiscence with me, so.
So the other one that they didn't talk, or they did talk about a little bit, no, then I'm done, is, you know, we talked about, alcohol impaired drivers or drug impaired drivers, but there's another statistic out there that's just as bad, and that's drowsy driving. There's a lot of people who drive drowsy and they cause an awful lot of accidents, and that is something that, again, it's another statistic that.
and I think you're
talk
gonna
about.
see that more and more when you got mom and dad that are working too, and you know, a couple of jobs trying to make ends meet. You're gonna have more drowsy drivers because parents are beating themselves to death trying to, you know, with mortgages being higher today, food being higher. I think that's gonna be something that you guys are gonna see more and more of
We see it all the
as
time.
people that are trying to make ends meet are pushing themselves harder. You know, what was my parents, one had to work, then it was two had to work with us, now they're having to, 2.5 have to work, you know, because to make ends meet, so, you know.
We're busier now, a different type of busy.
Anyway, that's my report, I just kinda wanted to
I'm
go over,
really
it was
sorry.
really
I-
good.
I really wanted to go to that and I just didn't check my email.
They're gonna have more around the
wanna go
state,
too.
so maybe you can
I'd
buzz
like
over to
to.
Eastern Oregon.
I'll check my email better.
Okay, alright, thank you.
Okay, does anybody have any further questions for Chris? Okay, is there any others somebody would like to bring up? Okay, if there's no others, the meeting is adjourned.